Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Picardcast. I am your host this evening, Rebecca, and I am joined every week, as I am by my wonderful co-host, Brooke. Welcome back, Brooke.
Hi.
How are you?
Um, good. We're
She's.
still in quarantine pandemic, but my computer died.
I know. I'm
And
so
that's so sad.
sorry. I know. Ugh, that's the worst. When the computer dies, there's so much stuff on
Yeah.
there you can't get back.
Yeah, well, I did luckily I was able to take it to somebody who could get all my data.
Good.
And I say data, not data, and we all know why. And yeah, so that was good. So I've got, you've already heard the theme song. You're gonna hear the outro with me on it. So all that's gonna work. Just I wouldn't have been able to do that 3 days ago. I bought a new monitor, and it was an open box, which was fine. And it didn't come with a power cord, but I didn't know because you can't go into Best Buy, so I couldn't read the box. So I just had to go with what it said online. Um, but otherwise, everything's good. Like,
Okay.
things are fine. I mean, considering everything else that's going on, in the world. But otherwise, everything else is fine with me. Just having technical difficulties at the moment.
All right. Well, at least partially solved or partially fixed, which is good. Um, we are joined by a special guest this evening. He's been on many times, and I think he'll probably be on many times in the future because we love talking to him. It's Neil. Everybody, welcome back, Neil.
Yay!
Yay!
Hi. Thanks for having me back.
Oh no, we love having you on. Yes,
My one-time co-host.
That's true.
Yes.
That is true. Neil is our ready to go backup co-host just in case, which is awesome. So
Doing what I can for the greater good.
yes, thank you. So yeah, we haven't talked to you in a bit, but how have you been doing during all this like lockdown stuff?
Um, it's been okay for the most part. There's a little bit of the cabin fever setting in, but try and get out as much as possible. I have gone through a couple of pretty intense binge watching things recently.
Okay.
So, I talked about it on Pop Culture Leftovers that I did a complete Buffy and Angel rewatch
Oh
in
wow,
like
that's
a three
epic.
in a 3 week period. It was insane.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it was interesting.
I know. I've been going down a mystery science theater riff tracks hole where I've been watching a lot of older episodes of Mystery Science Theater. I'm a huge fan,
Yeah.
and some of the newer riff tracks live.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, I've been doing that too. It's like comfort food. It's like comfort
It
watching.
is.
It's familiar. It's makes you feel warm and fuzzy. But yeah, I've also been watching a lot of Star Trek, of course, because that's
Of course.
always my go-to. um, yeah, so this is
You,
oh, I'm sorry, Brooke. Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, since everything in the world is scary right now, of course I've been watching and listening to true crime podcasts
Of course,
nonstop.
naturally. I mean, why wouldn't
Uh,
you?
I don't understand me either. I just go with it.
But a lot of people love true crime. Like they really enjoy like a true crime show or podcast, and um, like they could listen to that stuff, and it doesn't affect them like the same way like maybe
Ooh.
watching like a horror movie might affect them.
hmm
Uh, Usually I'm fine, but I did listen to one um about the Golden State Killer.
Oh
hmm
wow, okay.
Oh my God, because this one girl would get phone calls and there would be nobody there. And so one time she sat down the phone next to a thing to record it, and they had the recording, and I couldn't sleep that
Oh
night.
boy.
it freaked me out so bad. So then I had to tell Cindy about it the next day instead of like playing it for her because it was so scary. So at least I could get a little bit of it off of my chest, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, it was just, nope. I went back and listened to a few more, but I'm like, it's just hard for me to listen to any more of it just thinking about how creepy and messed up that guy was. And I've ingested a lot of like serial killer stuff lately. Anyway.
All right, so yeah, maybe it's time to take a break from the heavy stuff. So but
come on, everybody!
Star Trek True Crime.
Listen to all the light stuff that
I know. Let's talk about this light stuff of destroying entire civilizations, like we're going to talk about tonight. Light stuff.
An evil version of our own world.
Yes. Now, I hope, I'm just going to assume that Neil has grown a goatee since I last spoke to him, because that would mean that he is the mirror universe version of himself that we're talking to, and not the actual Neil. But I don't know.
I'm doing my best.
I'm wearing a great big gold sash around my waist right now.
Oh,
nice.
Very nice. Oh, so let's just back up, because I didn't say what we're doing tonight, which was not very smart of me. But we are in our personal logs journey here. So Neil, being our guest, this is his personal log. He chose tonight's episode, and you may have guessed by now what we're talking about. But Neil, what was the episode that you picked?
I picked Mirror Mirror from the original series.
Yes, man after my own heart. I love the original series in all of its 60s glory. I love it so much. Oh gosh, we're talking about so much 60s stuff. It's so good. What made you pick this episode?
I have always really, really liked the Mirror universe throughout all the series that used it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a fascinating way to have some reflection on the main universe by touching on the darker elements that could have come up in their place. And I really, this is my favorite Mirror episode because it is the first one. And I absolutely love Spock in this episode. I think Mirror Spock is really compelling and fascinating. And I love the fact that Uhura gets to kick some serious ass in this one, which she wasn't able to do all that often, but I always like it when she gets to beat up on people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, there's definitely some really great elements to this. And I think there's some really interesting kind of introspective moments, especially towards the end of this episode. And I think it's, as you were saying, it's a really great way to kind of, it's almost like a what if story. What if Germany had won World War II? What
exactly.
if the South did secede from the United States? Like those are those really interesting what if questions. And maybe there is a parallel universe out there where the South seceded and won the Civil War and separate country. Who knows? Maybe there's a parallel universe out there about it. But tonight we're going to talk about the Star Trek parallel universe. As Neil mentioned, our episode is Mirror Mirror. It is from season 2, episode 4, and I would go out on a limb and say that season 2 is probably the stronger of the 3 seasons of the original series.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, like season 1 certainly had like some really great episodes. Like, Space Seed is in season 1, which if you
Balance
don't have
of Terror.
Oh, absolutely, and if you don't have Space Seed, like you don't have Wrath of Khan. So
exactly.
Yeah, season 1 has a lot of really great stuff, but I think season 2 probably has, for me anyway, the bulk of the better episodes. And then season 3, of course, kicking off with Spock's brain is probably not so great.
There are some really good episodes in season 3, but they're a lot fewer and farther between.
I agree.
I do think season 2 is the strongest overall, as far as having more consistently good episodes. I think some of the season 1 episodes are superior to season 2, but I think overall the season 2 episodes are stronger as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Um, Brooke, do you have much experience with the original series?
Um, my ex-husband loved it and we watched it, and being that I live near where William Shatner has had a farm and stables and horses and stuff, I just never really cared a lot about him
Okay.
after moving up here. Uh, but I really enjoyed this episode a lot more than I remember whenever I saw it before. So maybe it was the company, and I should have known then that we were. Oh, anyway.
That is definitely a
But,
possibility. Maybe it was just bad company watching the episode.
Okay. Also, I'm just going to say this now because I might forget later. I can see why they picked Chris Pine to play Captain Kirk in the like reboots,
Mm-hmm.
because there was a lot of stuff with the young William Shatner where they kind of made the same faces and stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it, because he just got on my nerves, and I sort of watched this more objectively, I think, and I'm like, okay, no, I get it, I understand now. Like, he was the hot roguish captain or whatever. All right, that's fine. So yeah, I might have to just go back and just watch more because I'm in a different headspace now and everything. So
All right, yeah. I think definitely when you watch something maybe with a different viewpoint, or definitely if you've watched a show or a movie with somebody and then it's not a great situation, it can definitely affect how you view the thing that you've watched. So, but I'm
also every time I see Nichelle Nichols from then, she's even more beautiful than I can remember.
I know, she really,
like, she was so gorgeous, and even like she is still like a gorgeous older lady. Like, I mean, and I've seen her in real life, and she's still like, yeah. Anyway, sorry.
No, absolutely.
There's just some, it's almost like watching a show now because there's some beautiful people on the show, and then you have poor DeForest Kelly that looked like 60 when he was 40 on there. So
he did. It's true. He did. They definitely did a bit of an upgrade when they cast Carl Urban. I hate to say, but
yes.
I mean, it is what it
Very
is,
much
right?
so.
It's Carl Urban, so. Oh man. So I am excited that you enjoyed this episode more than you had previously. So I'm a huge fan of the original series, despite a lot of its flaws, but I do enjoy this episode too a lot. I was so excited when I saw that you picked it, Neil. So we are going to dive right in, and we're going to talk about Mirror Mirror. The original air date was October 6, 1967. Good Lord. And that is stardate 21228.2, in case you were wondering. It was then remastered in November 11th, 2006. So when you watch these episodes on Netflix, you're watching the remastered, which is pretty exciting because the graphics have been updated, which is... It's nice
some
some of them. I think if you go on Memory Alpha, they do have some nice side-by-side shots from this episode of like how it looked before, how it looked after the remastering, and you could definitely see this like little tweaks here and there. Nothing like dropping in new characters or something like that, but like just little tweaks of the colors and the lighting and stuff.
Yeah, with the Star Wars remasters, they didn't pull a George Lucas and add a bunch of random stuff in there.
Yeah.